You know what song I have in my head?
What song?
2 Dozen Roses.
Okay.
If I had
2 dozen roses.
Who sings it?
Shannon Bell.
That's our cold open. That's our cold open.
copyright strike.
Welcome to the Friday Game Night Pick 'em Show, week 1 of the high school football playoffs. I don't know why I just opened that way, but hi, everyone. Along with Jeff, Caleb, Seth, and Walker McQuarrie, I'm Bo Wilson.
Hi,
Yes,
Bo.
you are Bo Wilson.
What's up, fellas? How are you?
I'm doing great.
I was
Are
just
ya?
waiting for the
Hey,
bully.
everybody does great,
Yeah.
right? What were you
Waiting
waiting?
for the
off of
bullying
football.
to begin.
Why are you so like triggered these days, Jeff?
I don't know.
Gee, I have
just-
no
I
idea.
mean, you know,
maybe it's the entire season of picking at him that's starting to finally wear on him a little
It
bit.
could be. I don't know. He
but you act like I'm the only one that does it.
No,
we did
I-
his stat of the show last week,
Yeah,
so he's feeling
we
a little
did your
type
stat of the
way.
show.
Yeah, I'm
I mean,
still
did
jet
we?
lagged. I'm still jet lagged from Las Vegas. So that's
Oh, that's where you went.
that's where I went.
Yeah.
Did he win money? That's the question.
Gee, I would have loved to have won.
How about
some
your
money.
Halloween costume? How did that go
I
for
went
you?
as a Georgia fan.
Yeah, that was real good.
My Halloween costume did not come together the way I wanted.
Yeah. Well,
So,
you know.
Fortunately, I took enough Georgia stuff that I could be. I got no go dogs, but I did get berated by one Ohio State fan.
Look, not everyone can win second place in their workplace Halloween costume contest like myself.
Yeah, baby shark. My wife's still laughing about that, by the way. You sent us a picture. And
So is Caleb.
What? What was that, Seth? What was that?
Just when he mentioned that, the way you just went.
Yeah.
I could just like see you gritting your teeth at it.
Yeah.
I heard that you were upset that Bo won.
I think the
place.
correct term is butt hurt. Like I think that's the correct term.
Why? I don't
Next
get
year,
it.
now I know all I need to do is pay for some giant inflatable thing, and that's how you win the contest. There's
No, that's how you win second.
creativity
That's
involved.
how you win second.
Look,
$10 to win 50. That's a great investment, Bo.
look, listen. I didn't vote, so it wasn't my fault that I wore a costume that was supposed to be for my 11-year-old daughter, which was an adult large.
How did that happen?
And so
by
I
the
just
way?
grabbed it like, look, I'm going to dress up because nobody thinks I'm going to dress up. So I did. It was great. And it was a $14 shark costume.
for $50.
Only
That's-
$2 more than Caleb's beard he had on.
Yeah, the funny part is I actually spent more money than that because I had to go buy a purple T-shirt. 'Cause I didn't own one.
Look, you never thanked me for cutting out that Lakers logo like I did.
No, that was
Like-
helpful.
Like, yeah.
Although I feel like you might have sabotaged me. You
I would
might
say-
not have gotten the best Lakers logo.
I saw a picture of you and Perkle standing next to each other.
That
I
was
could not
awesome.
tell who was
You know,
who.
the audience,
I couldn't tell who
the
was
audience
who.
doesn't know what we're talking about, but I think if we have a photo of Brian Perkle in stock, maybe
Yeah, let's throw one in
We
here
do,
right now.
and-
because I think we've got a photo of me and Brian with me wearing the Brian Perkle costume.
Let's take a look at
next to
that
each
and
other.
see if
And-
you can tell who is the real Brian Perkle.
And I will give you a photo of me in the shark costume so you can throw it up.
Okay,
too.
that sounds good.
Let's
too.
do all that right now.
Yeah.
There we go.
Yeah, let's do all that. Sure. Beautiful.
Beautiful, just gorgeous. What a gorgeous inflatable outfit.
And it's
Still
air
mad about
conditioned
that.
as
Did,
well.
did y'all figure out who was the real Perkle or not?
How did an adult large get ordered
Yeah,
for
that's
your
what I wanna
11-year-old
know.
daughter?
For your 11-year-old daughter.
I have no idea because I didn't do the ordering. So
Who did the ordering?
All I
She
know
did?
is she put the costume on and she couldn't even see out of the clear where you're supposed to be able to see. So anyway, it was just like laying on the counter, and I'm like, I'm going to take it.
How are we supposed to transition this conversation back into picking football games?
I don't know. How do I survive producing this show every week? I
Well,
mean,
we could transition into it just like whoever voted me second place in the Halloween costume contest. They picked me for second. So let's get to the picks here on the show. Coming up on
Wait,
today's
we're going
show.
straight to the picks?
No, we're not. Dave
Okay.
Bishop is our guest picker today. And by the way, the final regular season standings, yes. Who brought the trophy? Oh, yeah, nobody.
I don't see the trophy.
What?
Jeff
No
wins
trophy?
by a game over myself and Walker third.
And y'all
Caleb.
look surprised.
We can
but
turn
I
him
knew I
gold
was
for
going
the
to win
show
this.
to give him
Yeah.
his award.
Yeah.
His award can be just him turning gold for the Pick 'em show.
There we go.
Seth, can you turn him into a trophy?
Can you put a crown like?
Probably.
Yeah.
You know, I will
I'll do
I will
something.
do this whole show as a trophy. I have no problem with that.
Hey, you know the thing about trophies, Jeff?
What?
They can't talk.
Well, that's a failure. Not gonna work. All right, guys.
Can I
Oh no,
talk?
I'll turn him
Look.
into a trophy. that's the point.
I'll take it. I'll take it.
We had a couple of games last week, a few games last week that changed the landscape of some regions. Mainly, or the biggest, what I would say, is Region 8-4A.
Oh.
With that East Forsyth North Hall game. Wow, what a game, guys!
That was a great game. I mean, we were both there, and North Hall had a 10-point lead in the second quarter, and how big was? I think we talked about this. How big that late
Oh yeah.
second quarter drive was by East Forsyth. I think we both kind of said they saved their season, and when I talked to Coach Allison afterwards, he kind of acknowledged it. He said that drive may have saved the season because they went in with momentum and came out and really probably put their best half of the season together, Caleb.
Yeah, definitely, and ran the ball extremely well. They gave up some plays on defense, and we knew they were going to. North Hall's offense is good, but they ran the ball so effectively, and it set up
350-something yards.
It set up the play action shots. They were able to hit a couple of those down the field, mainly because they got some one-on-ones because they were running the ball effectively, and it just opened everything else up. And, that was the script that we knew East Forsyth was going to have to use to win that football game. And still, North Hall had a shot at the end of that game to come down and win. Interception in the end zone ends up sealing it. But I thought it was a great game.
Was a great game. Bo, you finally got a great game.
Yeah, I finally got a great
You
game.
finished
And
strong.
you know
had
what's crazy?
Two good ones at the end of the season.
I did. We had two good ones at the end of the season on 102. But the thing about it, both teams had a 10-point lead of that game at one point, and it was just a back and forth game, and a really great way to finish the season. Now, if you're North Hall, not necessarily
No,
because
I'm sure that's a gut punch.
you go from 3 to 4 seed, and now you got a big 4 seed matchup with Stockbridge. So, for them, but then East, we'll get to Luella. So
I wanted to ask a question before we get farther into this, which is now that we're at the end of the regular season, what are some of your biggest takeaways from this regular season? Like for example, if you had to go most improved team overall from last year to this year, like Walker, what do you think?
Ooh, you put me on the spot.
Yeah.
Even though the way that they finished may have not been, or the matchup that they're going to end up getting, I think, oh man, I've gone back. Two names have come to my mind. North Forsyth, just because of how they finished the year, they're starting to really pick it up. They were much better at this point last year than they are this year, but from where they started, you look at it that way. North Forsyth's most improved over the course of the entire year. Flowery Branch getting into the playoffs after what they went through last year and kind of were on that track this year until they turned it around and started reeling off points left and right. Those are the two that kind of come to mind as to the way that the entire season played out. I don't know, though, about most improved from this point last year to today. That's a tough question.
There's two that come to mind for me. One is North Hall, and the other is Johnson.
oh yeah,
Those are, and to me, it's
Yeah,
hard to
Johnson.
not give it to
Forgot
Johnson.
about Johnson, yeah.
To me, it's hard to not give it to Johnson. You got a team that lost 30-something straight at one point, and hadn't won a game since 2019. And at one point in the season, they won 4 out of 6.
Yeah.
They're playing a non-region schedule,
but they
played
played the
that
same-
same non-region schedule last year and went 0-10.
That's correct.
So I mean,
I think you'd have to throw the Knights in there. I think I like North Hall as well. They're 9-1. I'm going with Commerce.
Commerce is another good one.
Because I've seen them twice, and I think that defense for Commerce has been the most impressive unit as far as how good they are this year compared to last year. That is a team, and that defense can carry them. I mean, and then you look at what they can do offensively with their I formation triple option. They won 6 games last year, I think, and they're 9-1 this year. They won the region. They knocked Raven off of a 9 straight year region title thing. They took out Elbert in the Granite Bowl. I'm going to go with Commerce, but there are several teams. I think, but just by what I have seen compared to kind of where they were, love those Tigers.
No, I agree with Commerce, Johnson. I think you could probably throw White County in there too.
That's another solid
You
one.
could potentially throw Hab Central in there. Just they made the playoffs first time in 2 seasons. It's good to see that we have now. I don't think we mentioned this, but it's good to see that we have Hall County teams in the playoffs this year.
Yeah,
because we
probably could
had
just
0
gone with
last
that.
year.
0.
So we've got North Hall in the playoffs, Flowery Branch in the playoffs. So that's a big improvement as well.
That's a huge improvement because that had been since like 1999, I think, last year with no Hall County. I think we even talked about at the beginning of the year, can any Hall County teams, when you look at how tough Region 8-4A is.
And by the way, if North Hall wins that game last Friday, not only did we get 2, and we would have had 3 because Cherokee Bluff would have made it.
That is true. So I think Hall County football hopefully is on the rise.
Yeah, and before you say it, on the other side of the screen here, yes, it's Hall County school system football teams.
Right.
We do know Gainesville's in Hall County.
That's correct. Gainesville.
And I was going to say another name of really improved, and this is kind of hear me out on this. Gainesville. I think Gainesville's much better at this point this year than they are last year. With Gavin Hall being able to do what they're doing, they're blowing teams out. Starters aren't playing into the fourth quarter like they were last year. This Gainesville team's even more improved. Even though they've got the same record as they did at this point last year, I think Gainesville's gotten a ton better.
It's year 2 of the system as well. I think that has a lot to do with it as well.
Defensively, they are. Now,
sure.
yes, and they have Gavin Hall, which has kind of changed how they run that offense a little bit more than last year. And look, Naeem Cheeks was no slouch last year. The passing game has not been there as much this year. Are they better than last year? Defensively, I think they're better. Offensively, they're different this year. So I don't know. I mean, they have a hard act to follow. I mean, they're going to have to win the state title for an improvement.
They were really, really good last year.
I know.
That's really good. And also, I feel like with this Gainesville team, I still feel like this team might have a 5th gear in them that we still maybe haven't
I don't think we've seen their best game.
And that's why I think that's why I'm throwing them into this conversation, is because I don't think we've seen their best football yet, and their starters aren't playing into the fourth quarter in 7 weeks now.
Let me say this, Jeff, because you mentioned the passing game. How much has Gainesville needed the passing game this year?
Probably not nearly as much as they need it, but they're
Gavin Hall's just running all over.
Right, but
not a lot.
They're going to need more consistency than I think we've seen this year. And because they're going to, eventually when they run into the quarterfinals, semifinals, I think,
I agree with you about to say,
I mean, I would almost like to see them.
They're going to need it at some point.
I would almost like to see them come out in the first couple of rounds and really work that passing game.
By the way, if we're going back to what Walker said, not talking about teams who are improved from last year to this year, but teams who are improved over the course of the year, has anybody paid attention to what Buford's done the last 3 weeks?
I was going to mention
Buford has played really ill for the last 3 weeks.
That Mill Creek loss must have upset them because I don't know if anybody's got the scores in front of them, but I think they've outscored their last 3 opponents something close to 150-0.
Yeah, and listen, they're number 1 in 7A in defense. Everybody talks about Dylan Raiola in the passing game. They've given up 62 points in 7A. That's it.
Here's the frightening thing to
points.
me. The frightening thing to me about Buford for anybody who has to play him in the playoffs, it looks like Raiola finally has some chemistry with his receivers.
Yes,
they are hooking up down the field now in ways that they weren't early in the year, and that should frighten some people. I still think if Buford doesn't win the state title, the number one reason will be I still don't know if they've quite figured things out on the offensive line.
Yeah, I was going to say
that's the only thing, though.
It's as if they took that Mill Creek game and said, guys,
right,
let's fix this. And then they did it.
A kind of a flip-flop from last season. Buford beats Mill Creek. Mill Creek goes on, wins the state championship. This year, Mill Creek beats Buford. Did that put them in another gear?
We're about to find out.
Yeah, we're about to find out. But Dylan Raiola, I think we all kind of expected it was going to take an adjustment period for him to get acclimated to the team and to the system. And we've seen it down the stretch. I think the acclimation process is almost complete.
So not going to spoil picks or anything, but assuming we all pick Buford to beat Wheeler, which I think looking at paper we're probably going to end up doing when we pick. Potential matchup with Norcross, potential matchup with Grayson. If they can get through those two for the Wolves.
Can't wait for that.
They're going to have a very difficult road.
It's going to be a very difficult road, but the way that offense is playing, coupled with the defense you're talking about, Jeff, I don't want to face Buford, especially given how they took an exit last year against Walton. I don't want to play
Yeah, but
Buford in the playoffs.
Guys,
Buford
class,
at Grayson is like mouth-watering. Like, please give me Buford at Grayson in the quarterfinals. That would be such a good ball game.
But you guys know, and Coach App has said it, I don't know how many times, Class 7A playoffs are totally different
it's like
than any
the
other
SEC
classification.
It's like the SEC. Every round, the first round, I think you have an advantage, but after that
no.
literally, I think it's probably a coin flip. And while we're doing this, might be a good time for me to go into the stat of the week.
Roll the music.
Here's some things you need to know.
It's Jeff Hart's interesting stat of the show.
So, guys, we're talking about, playoffs and teams moving. Look, we got a bunch of teams that are either trying to get their first win or trying to break some playoff streaks, some negative playoff streaks. For instance, East Forsyth, they're in for the first time, looking for their first playoff win. Lumpkin, hey, great season. First 10-0 season, Walker, in school
program
history.
yep.
Won their first region title.
Walker.
What happened?
He's making fun of you, Jeff. Just
I'm
continue.
sorry. Thank you, Bo. I can always count on you. I don't like being in the middle of these guys, Seth. You've got to do something about this. Y'all were looking.
I did nothing.
I don't know what's going on.
I've
behind
done
my
nothing
back.
either.
If there was
Jeff,
if there was
continue.
something I
Don't-
could do about people
Don't
picking
shut
on
out
people
the
on this
adversity,
show,
Jeff. Just shut it
I
out.
would have done it, but there's nothing.
It's very difficult, but I'll do
Shut
my
out
best.
the
Thank you,
adversity.
Walker.
Continue with your stats of the show.
Lumpkin's 0-6 all-time in the playoffs. They're 0-2 at the barrier grounds. So they're looking not only for their first ever playoff win, but at home as well. North Forsyth has lost 6 straight. Jefferson has lost 3 straight since their state final appearance. Commerce, we talked a little bit just a minute ago about how good they are this year. They've lost 3 straight playoff games going back to a quarterfinal run in 2020. So a bunch of teams in our area that are looking and probably need to break, playoff losing streaks. I can see 2 or 3 of those teams doing that. I see a couple that are going to have a hard time. I'm not going to give away my picks. So
Those are great stats of the show. Dun, dun, dun.
I don't know why.
Where to next?
Let's move to the conversation games, guys. Let's roll on down
Great
through here.
segue there.
And at the top of the list, we're just going to dive into White County at Breman. Did I say that right?
Breman.
Breman.
It's Breman, yeah.
Okay.
We're discussing that game.
Yeah. So
Okay.
This game, White County at Breman, I think a lot of us on the show feel like the Warriors have a good shot of going 2.5 hours away in the first round of the playoffs to play Breman. Walker, I know you kind of have an opinion on this, so we'll let you open up.
Yeah, I think that when you take a look at how 7-3A fared last year, 0-4, right? 8-3A dominated
Not
that
good.
matchup. It wasn't good. In fact, Jeff, to steal your word, it was bad.
It
for
was
7-3A
bad.
last
I
year.
saw one of them and kind of wish I could unsee it.
They crossed with 8-3A last year,
Yep.
which had 5 really good teams in it.
Yes.
So
Exactly. Now 7-3A crosses with 6-3A. Much easier matchups. But long road trip for White County, and White County's had this thing where they've liked to play in really close games as of late. Go to Lumpkin County game, 4 overtimes. Go to host Pickens, lose by 8. Host Gilmer, win by a touchdown late in that game. For White County to win this game, I think they've got to get out really fast, have the defense get a couple stops early and jump out to a lead, and then let Ryan Fowler and Trip Nix really just bleed that clock out in the rushing game. I think Trip Nix is going to have to throw the ball early to loosen up Bremen's front 7, Caleb. But if he's able to do that, this Warrior team can score on anybody, and I think they may be able to do the outscoring of Bremen.
Well, listen, White County can win a shootout. They got to make sure it is a shootout. I think they're going to have that kind of offensive ability in this game because, to be frank, when Trip Nix and Ryan Fowler are both healthy, I haven't seen anybody actively really be able to stop that offense yet. I mean,
No.
not really. I mean,
No.
Wesleyan did the best job of anybody, but even that game, I think White County scored, 20-something points in that
Right.
game, and that was
22,
their
I think, yeah.
That was their worst offensive output of the year. They'll need more than 22 points at Bremen on Friday, but I think they can do it.
Well, see, I think you just mentioned kind of what the issue would be with White County. They're scoring points, but losing to Pickens and giving up that many points is concerning.
Played better against Gilmer.
They did. They did, but they still gave up points, and they're going to be on the road in a very difficult place to play against a program that has, some history. It could come down if they can't score on one possession, or maybe they have to kick a field goal. That could be the difference. I think, yes, they're going to score, but that defense is going to have to show up because that's a tough place to play. You one turnover, you really just can't afford many mistakes, Bo, in that game.
I said it last week. I'll say it again. Don't miss the extra point because that's what put them behind against Pickens County, and then Pickens.
And somewhere Cherokee, and somewhere some folks at Cherokee Bluff are going, that's right.
Yeah, absolutely.
From the Madison County game.
Exactly. So when you miss the extra point, then for the rest of the night they were trying to go for two and didn't convert those two and lost that game to Pickens. But down the stretch, and whoever said it just a moment ago, you go to Wesley and Pickens or Lumpkin, Pickens, Gilmer. I mean, then I'm going to throw Gilmer out because you go with those two offenses, then have to prepare for the wing tee of Paul Standards, and you get out of there with a win. White County, I think they have a shot in this game. I just don't know if they have enough, and defensively is going to be huge for them.
And it's a pick 'em game as far as a line goes. So this is an even match, but being at home, that how big is that going to play? It could.
Well, speaking of being at home, Union County, they are at home against Eagles Landing. And now this game,
Eagles Landing Christian.
Eagles Landing Christian. So
they did not cross classifications in the playoffs.
We were at the scoreboard show at North Hall the other night, and so I was texting with Coach Perry because a lot of us had thought that perhaps the loss to Fellowship was going to drop them to the 3 seed. Well, they held the tiebreaker because they kept it close with Fellowship Christian to get the 2 seed, which gives them the home game against an Eagles Landing Christian team that Jeff and I have talked about. They have the pedigree, the playoff pedigree. They have the playoff experience. Walker, does that mean anything in this game?
I think it does, and I think the way that if you look at what Elka's done over the past 3 weeks on the offensive side of the football, they have the ability to keep up with Union County, who wants to score a bunch of points. Lost to Callaway, who ended up unbeaten in their region, scored 22 points on them. Scored 47 points on Towers on the road, scored 42 points against McNair on the road. That's an offense that if I'm Union County's defense, I am a little bit afraid of what they can do because Union County is going to have to get at least one stop, if not 2 or 3, to allow their offense to be able to score points because Elka's defense is starting to play better. And so which offense is going to get the most success is going to be the real key in the cog as to who advances on in the 2A playoffs.
Look, I agree with that 100%. Let's look at the games that Union lost. They gave up 55, I believe it was, to Providence Christian. We found out like a few days later they were missing 4 or 5 defensive starters. They also dropped 3 touchdown passes in that game. Offense has been there. You've got the classification's leading passer. You've got 3 really good receivers, and Jensen Goebel was out for 2+ games. Defensively, you look, they held Fellowship to 28? And that team had been scoring 40-something a game. And they're at home. That's a Saturday 1:00 kickoff. So how will that play? I don't know. But they're at home. They play well at home. This is a team that I think, Bo, you called this team right from the beginning. They had a chance to win the region. You think they had a chance to go deep in the playoffs. They haven't gotten past the second round. But this could be the team to do it. That defense is much, they've got guys back now. That defense is playing very well. They had chances last week against Fellowship. They beat Athens Academy. I believe that was on the road.
Yep.
So I like this team. I really do.
So Jeff, you're talking about liking Union County. Walker, you're talking about who Elka's played and how many points they've scored. Fellowship Christian has scored 73, 52, 55, 30, 56. Now, if you want to go who they played, fine. If you want to compare, strength of schedule, whatever. But Fellowship Christian can score points as well, and Union held them to 28. So that doesn't bother me. Neither does the fact that Elka has this, quarter semi championship, all this crap.
Six state titles.
That means nothing to me. So I'm still, and not to give away a pick, but maybe I will. I'm still hanging with the Panthers.
Well, look, I'll say this: if I'll go back to something that Coach Perry told me in the preseason when I asked him about this offense, because they got Caden Tanner and Jensen Goebel. We know they can throw it. Michael Perry's never been shy about calling his offense an air raid offense. But I'll go back to something he told me in the preseason, which was, and I'll apply it directly to this game. If Union County's going to have a shot in this game, it's going to be because they run the ball effectively.
Raider.
If Braylon Raider and that running game can get going, Elka's going to have some big problems because that's going to set everything else up, and then your defense is on skates at that point. So that's kind of what I'm looking for in this one.
Well, guys, that one's going to be a great game. Unfortunately, it's a 1 p.m. kickoff. Or is it fortunately because, we all go to Saturday in college football. But regardless, 1 p.m. kickoff in Blairsville. Okay.
Is anybody surprised?
I'm hoping
Union's a 19-point favorite.
Maybe a little, the 19. I figured it would be a little bit closer than that.
By the way, I'm
perhaps
hoping that with us going down in the number of classifications, maybe we decrease the number of these Saturday first-round playoff games, because high school football just should not be played on Saturday.
No, it shouldn't be played at all.
Not to get into the reclass conversation, because that's for another time, but are we really going down in playoff games with the private schools splitting off?
That's true. That's true.
Yeah, you are right on that. So, by the way, that reclass stuff, interesting. Go take a look at it. Okay, it's been a historic season for three programs in our area, and East Forsyth is one of those. They're making the playoffs for the first time ever. The other historic is Lumpkin, who's finished the season undefeated. They won their first region championship, and now they're trying to win their first ever first-round playoff game. East Forsyth is at Luella, Caleb. Do you believe East Forsyth can make history for the second time this year by going to Luella and getting a win?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Does anybody here not believe? Does anybody here not? I don't think it's a shocking opinion. I think that most people view this as a toss-up kind of game. Yeah, they can do it.
Yeah, Luella's a 1-point favorite. I think that it's showing that it probably is. That's as close to a pick 'em game as you can get.
Look, and I'll say this: I love a running football team on the road, and the reason I love a running football team on the road is, man, you can just suck the energy out of an opposing stadium by running the football effectively. And that's what they did at North Hall. So yeah,
something yards.
Listen, I like this East Forsyth team. I like the weapons they have on offense. Yeah, I think they can go down there and get it done.
Hey, look, guys, you talk about the two-headed monster they had against North Hall, which was Troy Hoover and Gus Martin.
Gaining the edge. Go check it out.
Yeah, that's right. Go check it out. They also have a third head to that monster if he's 100%, and that's Trip Morris out of that backfield.
He played 3 plays last week. Does that mean we'll see more of him this week?
He was injured against Madison County, so perhaps he's more to the 100% recovered side than not for the playoff game. But Walker, you see this team, and yes, Brock Zekas, he's a great game manager and can make a play downfield. But as Caleb and I and Jeff think here, this rushing attack is going to be very key for the Broncos.
Not only that, the defense is going to end up playing a huge part, because we saw what East Forsyth's defense did once they finally got North Hall figured out and started running the ball, allowed their defense to rest on the sidelines on those long drives that the Broncos put together on Friday night. Got the defense out there against the Trojans, got stops, which is big. Here's the thing that if I'm East Forsyth, I'm not really happy about. Luella won 5 straight before last week. They lost to Hampton, who's out of the playoffs on the road. Does that mean that Luella's got a bad taste in their mouth and they're going to be ready to come play? That just puts even more emphasis on the defense for East Forsyth to come out and make a statement early on the road to try and get that first playoff win.
All right, let's get to the portion of the show that we love the most, maybe, sort of, the rundown portion of the show as we are in the playoffs. We've already talked a lot about the playoffs, but first off, guys, we got to introduce our guest picker this week. You want to know who it is?
Who is?
Do you see who it is?
The suspense is killing.
Look at him. He's on screen.
There he is.
Finally got him in the house. Coach Dave
That
Bishop.
took like 3 years.
What's up, Coach?
What's up, guys? You doing all right?
Doing great, man. How about yourself in your new role as athletics director at Chestatee?
be honest with you, love it. Love the job, love the community, and love the support we've got here. Looking forward for great things, man.
How much are you missing the radio booth?
I miss that probably more than I do practice Monday through Thursday.
Wow, that's
Well,
I think that means he's turned a corner.
yeah, he's turned a corner. Definitely so. What about your picking game? Do you feel good about today?
Well, here's what I'll tell you. I feel better than the guy that you had on week 1 because he had nothing to go by. So I'm a little bit of shape than everybody
And
else.
who was that guy in week 1?
Is that Ryan?
Oh,
No, that was Sutton
was
Shirley.
Sutton Shirley.
As he told me yesterday, I need to go better than 8-5.
Well, he is not as bad as his buddy Ryan Murray over at Bluff.
Who was the best record of the guest pickers so far?
We've got 3 12-1s, I think.
Wasn't Gene
Yeah.
among that group?
Gene, maybe.
Scott Talbert and
Chris Faulkner.
Chris Faulkner. Yep.
All right.
So
High mark to beat there.
Yeah, that doesn't leave you much room for error.
Scott Talbert's already wanting he's wanting a
he's-
repeat of
yeah,
playing. I
of
just told
course
him,
he is.
look, we can't have him
Well, look,
showing us up like that twice.
When we get to the last couple of pick'em shows, whenever they're going to be, we should really bring the top 3 back in and
Let 'em go.
Let them have their own little mini playoff. Ooh, might be an idea.
That's a good
I
idea.
Caleb, I also think we should bring in the bottom 3 as well because I think it'd just be hilarious.
Yeah, me too. Perhaps we can do
Give
like
them one shot at redemption.
We can do like a
That's
Family
exactly
Feud
right.
episode of those 3
Oh.
versus the
Oh
top
my
3. All right, let's get to the rundown as the pick order this week. Walker, Jeff, myself, Coach, Caleb, Seth. Everybody got that? Walker,
Yep.
Jeff, myself,
Yes.
Coach, Caleb, Seth. All right, here we go. Starting at the top of the list, Flowery Branch at Creekside.
Which Flowery Branch offense are we going to get? I'm not convinced that we're going to get a whole lot of consistency. I think it's going to be close, but Creekside at home, I think, is the difference.
Close. Wow. I don't think it matters what kind of offense they get. It's going to be Creekside by a lot.
Yeah, this is a tough game for Flowery Branch. I've seen them a few times this season. I've seen them good. I've seen them bad. This is a big matchup, perhaps a bad matchup for them. I'm going to go with the Falcons, or check that with Creekside.
Yeah, Creekside
Wait,
at home,
which
they've
one
got
are you
it
going with?
on this year? I got to go Creekside as well.
Yeah, Creekside's going to be too much in this one. This is just a brutal draw. This is why that Loganville game was so important for Flowery
Yes.
Branch,
Yes.
because it was the chance to avoid this matchup. They did not avoid the matchup, and unfortunately, I think it's going to hurt them.
Seth, you back? You back?
Yeah, I'm back. I thought.
Seth was calling around again.
Yes, I was calling around again. I had banked on Coach Bishop speaking for a little bit longer to give me time to run across the screen in the cut, but it didn't happen. It didn't happen. I'm gonna have to go Creekside on this one.
All right, let's move down to Gordon Lee at Lumpkin County. I think this is a pretty easy pick, fellas.
Yep.
Indians are going to get the running game going early and often. I think Mason Sullins goes for a couple of bills, and Lumpkin wins big.
Yeah, the Indians get their first playoff win ever.
Yeah, a couple, maybe 3 bills in this one for Mason Sullins. Lumpkin big in this one.
Yeah, I got to go with Coach Heath and the Lumpkin County Indians without a doubt on this one.
Lumpkin County wins and Oconee County wins. That's my bonus pick, setting up a rematch of last year's first-round playoff game in Dahlonega.
Well, you just messed up Walker's pick there as far as Oconee goes, because now they're going to be all over Walker for not
I can't
doing the
wait.
bonus pick.
Do I feel another State of the Union gonna happen?
Perhaps.
Are we gonna have to do a repeat? I'm going with Lumpkin County in this one as well. Indians roll.
Hab Central at Douglas.
Douglas. I think Hab Central got a really bad draw. They get in, great, but you have to go to Douglas.
Yeah, Douglas is really stout. Definitely going to go with Douglas.
Look, tip of the hat to Hab Central, though.
Yeah, absolutely.
2 seasons without the playoffs. They get into the playoffs this year, but yeah, Douglas going to win this one, Coach.
Yeah, exciting for Coach Harrison to get in, but like I said, what a horrible draw in the first round. I got to go Douglas as well.
What is that draw, folks? Can we all say it at the same time? 1, 2, 3. Bad.
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm hoping for a better Habersham season next year, because I don't like the position I've been put in all year, which is that I've been picking against Habersham, I feel like, the entire year. Benji Harrison was my homeroom teacher, and I can't seem to get a week where I can confidently pick him. He brought up on the scoreboard show Friday, like, hey, we went to Douglas
did.
County a few years ago in
He
the first
did.
round and beat them.
Different team.
This is a different, and this Douglas County team is not that same Douglas County team. I'm taking the, they're the Tigers, right?
Yeah, I think so.
I'm taking the Tigers.
Tigers as well.
Jackson at Jefferson.
It's Maynard Jackson.
Yes, Maynard Jackson.
Jackson of Atlanta.
Or
Yes.
Jackson of Atlanta.
However
Whatever you want to
look
say.
at it, right?
Question for me, and this is just the fun pick that I'm going to make myself. Does Sammy Brown or does Mason Sullins run for more yards?
Ooh.
I'm going to take Mason to win close just because I think Sammy Brown's going to get some rest in the second half. Jefferson wins big.
Yeah, I'm going to take Jefferson. This is another one of these. Looks like a blowout on paper.
Yeah, you make a good point, Walkers. Who gets more rushing yards? And, of course, we'll see Sammy rest a lot more probably than Mason on the offensive side of the ball after he gets at least 150 yards. So, yeah, Sammy Brown going to roll in this one with the Dragons.
Yeah, as Bo would call him, Sammy Smith.
There we
That
go.
one in the bank for a while.
Boom. He's been waiting. He's
Well,
been waiting
hey,
for
I
that.
mean, Sammy Brown. Yeah, no doubt. Jefferson in this one big.
Jefferson really needs a playoff win.
Yes.
They have had some.
Yes.
They've had some bad showings in first round playoff games, second round playoff games over the last few years. This is the best team they've had in a couple of years. I got Jefferson rolling in this one, but I'd really like to see Jefferson come out and put together a good playoff showing this year because I think this is they've got the kind of team that can make a run if they play well.
Yeah, and let's not forget that
Who are
we've
you
said that
picking?
the last 2
Jefferson.
years.
Okay, just making sure.
Yeah.
So
Just making sure.
let's hope Jefferson gets rid of that first-round hex this week, Seth.
Yeah, I'm going to take the Dragons in this one too. Sammy Brown will, get going early and, like you guys said, probably have some rest time.
The old Monticello, Jasper County at Commerce.
I'm going to take the Tigers. They're coming off of a bye week, nice and healthy and rested. And the three-headed monster is going to run for as many yards as they want to run for.
Well, the question is, will Baby Goat run for more than Sullins or Sammy Brown? I think you can throw all three of those
because
guys.
they have three that all run for about the same.
Look, he's put up some 250-yard games even with all three of those guys. Commerce wins this big, by the way. But in fact, they've only played – I think this is the first meeting since 1995. So they were old region rivals back in the day. It's been a long time since they played. So, yeah, Commerce big.
Go Tigers.
I'll be honest with you. Sometimes that week off before the playoffs actually is not a great thing. I had it happen twice in my career, and when you're rolling, it makes it tough, but I'm going Commerce Tigers.
Jeff, Jaden Daniels is not even going to be the leading rusher on his own team this Friday.
Wow.
Tyshawn
There it
Wiggins.
is.
Okay.
Tyshawn Wiggins is going to go off, and Commerce wins big.
Man, it must be nice to have that kind of an
Oh, man. And they get it next year, too.
Yeah.
Yeah, talk about a team with ways to hurt you 6 one way, half a dozen another.
Can you say that again?
No. If no,
Do it
absolutely
again.
not.
Come
No.
on. Come on.
Don't be scared, Seth. Come on.
Commerce wins, move on.
Good call.
Well, we're only going to move one way and half another to the next game. North Forsyth at Hughes. Bleh.
I've gone back and
What was
forth.
that? What was
What
that?
was that?
just
It's a
feel-
little
I
it's a
just
little
feel
late
for
for
him.
your like ghost Halloween.
Yeah,
boo.
I know.
It's
sorry.
It's
I'm
a little
just-
late.
yeah, go ahead.
I've gone
Walker.
back and forth on this one, honestly. This one feels like a game that North Forsyth would just come out and find a way to win. I don't know why, but I feel that way. I'm going to take Hughes, but I wouldn't be surprised if the Raiders are in this game late.
I would tend to kind of, my gut says they could, but Hughes, we know what they can do. We saw them last year. They lost a lot of players, but they're still, I think, in the top 5 or 6 in 6A in offense. They got Aaron Nolan, and when you have the best player on the field, you're going to win. And so I'm taking Hughes.
I think North is going to be all over the field trying to stop big play after big play. So going to go with Hughes in this one.
Yeah, there's no doubt in my mind Hughes has got this one. North Forsyth's going to come out there, but it's all Hughes.
Everybody kind of fell asleep on this Hughes team because they lost to Douglas County. But I got news for you. This is still the same Hughes team that beat Carrollton to open the season. They've still got Aaron Nolan. I'm going to take the Panthers.
Yeah, give me Hughes as well.
Rabun County at Social Circle. First time Rabun's been a 3 seed in 10 years.
Or longer.
Or longer.
Yeah, first time they've been on the road in
Yeah.
the first round in a really long time. Commerce beat Social Circle by a lot earlier in the year. Rabun County kept it close with Commerce. In fact, sent them to overtime. I think Rabun wins this game, and it might be a very long night for Social Circle.
It will be. They beat them 42-0 last year, I think it was, in the second round. I don't see 42-0, maybe 28-7. But yeah, Rabun should win this comfortably.
Yeah, I've got to agree with everything everybody just said. I think Rabun's going to roll into Social Circle, and there's going to be no question about their win, Rabun County, in this one.
Absolutely. When it came to picking, this was in my mind, one of the easiest ones to pick in this situation. Got to go Rabun County.
Coach, not so fast.
Oh, man, here we go. Okay.
What? Weren't you the one who was just talking about how you don't like the bye week at the end of the regular season going into the playoffs?
Absolutely.
That's what Rabun County's coming off of here, and Rabun's trying to get up off the mat after a gut-wrenching loss to Commerce in the region title game. Give me the Social Circle Redskins in this one.
We just took a game lead in the playoffs.
I love it.
yeah.
Thank you.
Definitely.
Thank you, Caleb. That's as easy as it gets.
I like
right
this
there.
upset spot here.
Okay. I'm going to take Rabun County. Seeing them against Stevens kind of had me questioning this Rabun team, and then seeing them against Commerce, that huge difference in keeping it really close with Commerce. Give me Rabun County.
Yeah, I'm glad
Transitive property doesn't
I'm glad
always
you didn't
work.
let Caleb influence you on that.
Transitive property now.
Well, let's see if Caleb's going to pick this upset. South Paulding at Gainesville, Walker.
No. I'll go ahead
No
and spoil
chance.
this one.
Absolutely no chance he takes South Paulding. I will give up my month's salary if that's the case. Give me Gainesville.
Bill Maine's going to love you if that happens.
Caleb's not picking Gainesville. I'm perfectly confident.
Okay, yeah, I'm taking the Red Elephants. They're going to
Well,
stomp.
I mean, now that you've put money on the line.
Yeah, they're going to stomp.
I was like, Walker, you've put yourself into a very precarious situation here.
I'm either going to pick up a game or I'm going to be exactly right.
Yeah,
I win either way.
Explain that one to your wife.
Look, the question in this game is Gainesville has not played their starters for 4 quarters since week 4.
Had to play them longer against North Forsyth than they had.
Right.
But
Yeah, they did. A little bit longer against North Forsyth. But
Yeah, I mean, they're rested.
I don't think that really matters in this game, but I think it might come a time in the playoffs where it might matter somewhat. But I'm going to pick Big Red in this one.
Yeah. They're probably not going to have to play their starters very long in this one. I don't think they're going to go 4 quarters with their starters again, but go Big Red. Did I say that?
Yeah, you said
Yeah, you
say that.
did.
We got that on
we
tape.
got that on
Not go
tape.
Big
We
Red.
got that on tape, Coach. There you go.
We got to archive that. Goodness.
This is a little bit of a weird playoff matchup for Gainesville because it is the rare playoff rematch from last year. They played South Paulding last year.
Yep.
Last year there were some people going into that game thinking South Paulding could pull that upset. Not so many people thinking that this year.
Maybe last year, but not this year.
Yeah, I got Gainesville big in this one.
Yeah, give me
I
Big
was
Red.
right.
Yeah, 100% Big Red.
Wheeler at Buford. Walker.
Tom Ryden Stadium. That's the difference. Buford.
That's it? That's it.
That's it.
Okay.
TRS, huh?
Yep.
I don't. You can throw in anything you want. It's not going to matter. In the first round, Buford's going to roll. It's what happens after the first round, I think, when things will get interesting for the Wolves.
Oh, it's definitely going to get interesting for the Wolves. But
Yeah.
yeah, Buford in this one.
Yeah.
You don't want to say
Did
go
that-
Wolves?
did that
or-
hurt?
I don't want
Coach?
to say go Wolves.
Did that
It's
hurt?
just kind of one of those games where you're going,
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, Walker said Tom Ryden Stadium's the difference. The difference is Buford's a lot better than Wheeler, and that's why they're going to win big on Friday.
Yeah, Buford. Give me Buford.
White County at Breman.
Here's where our picks are going to start to get split up here. We've gone
exactly what I was thinking.
9 of our 13 games, well, 8 of our 13 games where everybody picked the same. Now's where we're going to start getting some splits. I'm taking White County on the road. I think that Tripp Nix and company get the passing game going early and get past Breman in the first round. Give me the Warriors.
Look, I feel the same way, and I can remember them going on the road with J. Ben Haynes, and it's not for a bad first quarter, they would have won as a 4 seed. I could see that. I don't think Bremen's as good as I can't remember exactly where White County was that year. But the question is which White County team. So I want to pick White County because I really think this is an upset special. But I just don't know. On the road, I'm going to take Breman.
But
I'm going to take Breman at home. I think it
Is it
could go
Bremen
down,
or Bremen?
Because he said it both ways.
I don't know. Breman,
Bremen.
I don't know. The other team White County's playing is the one I'm going to take. So we're already split, Walker.
How far is Bremen from White County?
it's a good way.
That's a haul.
It's right on the Alabama line,
Right.
I believe.
It's a haul.
Do you want an exact
Are
distance?
we going to run out of tape here?
No.
Would you like me to use it in a sentence?
Yes, please do. White County is how far from Bremen? Look.
It's
No,
going to take them 2 hours and 15 minutes down I-20.
On a Friday? Add an hour.
I'm sure they'll
They
leave
don't hit
first.
I'm going to
traffic.
ask you not to make that noise in my headphones again, Jeff.
I'm going to look. I think White County has the weapons, but I just can't pick them. I'm going with Bremen this week.
Well, I'll tell you, it was one of those toss-ups, kind of going back to Walker. It's kind of where, it's 50-50. But I'll be honest with you, as I looked at the schedule, I think Bremen's schedule is a little bit tougher, and I think that's what's going to get them through, and I'll pick Bremen.
Walker and I were doing the scoreboard show on Friday, and we talked to Chad Bennett after they beat Gilmer to get into the playoffs. And Coach Bennett, my old position coach, he
Always name dropping here.
Yeah,
Yeah,
well,
it's
I
always.
just
Who didn't coach you?
look
And
at
how
me,
come you were
Louie,
no
right
good?
there.
Did he mention the Brahma Bull?
that's just because I was no good. You can't listen. Coaches aren't miracle workers, Jeff.
That's for sure.
But Coach Bennett conjured up the memory of the old Road Warrior teams at Flowery Branch that went in as 3 and 4 seeds in the playoffs, made state title game and semifinal appearances. I don't know if White County's going to make that kind of a run, but just for conjuring up that memory, you know what? I think this White County team's going to go on the road and get it done. They've got to make some stops defensively, but White County can score on anybody. I mean, there's nobody on their schedule they haven't scored on. So I think White County will put up some points. I think their defense will do just enough to get the win at Breman.
Okay.
You know what? I'm gonna help on the coattails here of you and Walker. I've got some faith in this White County team. Let's do it, White County.
Ooh, even split, Walker. You got
How
what
about
you're
you?
Called it.
How about you? All right, Eagles Landing Christian at Union County.
I think this game is going to be a shootout. Both teams score offensive points. I think Union County's offense a tad better, and they're playing at home. I'll take the Panthers.
I tell you, me and Bo have had this discussion about Elka. A little before this, we did the pick 'em in the sports office a couple of times. Tough game to pick. I'm going to go with Union at home, but I think Elka is better than what their record is indicating.
Look, I have kind of been on and off the Union bandwagon. I did say I felt like they could win that region, and they almost did.
You were close.
They had several opportunities in the fourth quarter to go ahead and either go ahead in the game or tie the game to force it to overtime. So I'm going to stick with the Panthers this week. Union County, and they're going to win this game. I'm not even going to call it an upset. Union wins this game.
No, I don't think it's an upset, but
Well, I'm going the opposite direction.
Okay.
Ooh,
And,
okay.
and I, listen, it's one of those. Everybody picked one. I'm going to pick. It was one of those. I flipped a quarter, and Elka won. But I look at their schedule. I look at their first 4 games, and while they got beat pretty well, I mean, those are some impressive teams that they've had to line up. So they've seen the speed, they've seen the size. I just think that might make a difference in Friday night's game.
I love your coaching strategy, Coach. Flip a coin.
I think that can make a difference, everything he just said. I also think, what time is this? It's a Saturday game.
1
1
p.m.
o'clock.
Saturday at 1 p.m.
I'm actually going to be there.
1 p.m. Saturday game. Is the crowd really going to be that into it? Is the home field really going to be felt by either team in this one? I don't necessarily know. I think we saw that kind of nerf Lumpkin County's home field a little bit. Now, Oconee County also nerfed Lumpkin County's home field a little bit.
Yeah.
But I think that could maybe have a little bit lesser of an environment up there in Blairsville. And I think Elk is good. Like, I think these two teams are pretty even. I mean, I really do. I think this is the closest thing we have to a true toss-up game on the slate. I'm going to take Elka on the road. I think they're a little more opportunistic on defense. I think they'll generate a couple of turnovers. High-scoring game, I do think, but I'll take Elka.
I am staying true to this Union County bandwagon. Give me Union County. I will be there as well.
East Forsyth at Luella.
Talk about a true toss-up game.
I'm going to take the Broncos. I like what they can do defensively, especially on the road. We saw what they did to North Hall last week on the road in the Brickyard, a tough place to play. I think I'm just going to lean with East Forsyth and that defense.
Look, they've won basically 2 playoff games on a row already. They had to win each of the last 2 weeks just to get in. They really have some experience in these games at this point. I just think they're a better team than Luella. I'm going to take the Broncos based on that.
Yeah, I do too. I think they're a better team than Luella. Defensively, I think the big play is to conserve with Coach Allison, but East Forsyth in this one.
Well, not so fast.
Ooh, boy.
Again, here we go.
Hey, I got to go the opposite direction. I'll be honest with you, this is another toss-up game, and I think the one thing that I saw on their schedule, a little tougher schedule all around, and defensively, they've done a pretty dang good job stopping some of the best schools in that area. And so for that reason, as much as I'd like to go with Coach Allison and the Broncos, I got to go with Luella.
I'm taking East Forsyth. I'm going to take that running game on the road. They really, North Hall had a lead in that game at the Brickyard on Friday. The place was juiced, and when East Forsyth started to run the ball, you just felt the air kind of come out of the building. That ground game can do that on the road, and I think they'll do it again this Saturday. I think East Forsyth makes their playoff debut with a bang, with a win on the road.
If not for that North Hall game last week, I would have definitely picked Luella, but I'm going with the Broncos. Picking against them last week bit me directly in the posterior, so I'm going to go with the Broncos.
6-1 halfway
That was
days
such
in
an
the other,
eloquent
right?
way of saying that.
Yeah,
Well, thank you very much.
So eloquent.
I have my language skills. I have Coach Bishop to thank for that. He
All
always speaks so elegantly.
Just the technical skills.
I don't know about the technical skills.
Maybe
but, maybe not.
Coach, I want to tell you.
How many takes did it take us to get this Zoom call to work properly?
Yeah.
Like
Oh,
I said,
that's not
that
me,
was my
dog.
fault. That was my
That
computer's
is not
fault.
me.
All right, North Hall at Stockbridge.
Trojans can score points, but having to go on the road a Saturday, 6:30 p.m. kick. Mines are going to be in Athens as what happens there. I think Stockbridge is going to win.
Yeah, I don't know what in the heck they were thinking. 6:30 kickoff on a Saturday when you have, Georgia game going on. I don't understand that. But I don't think it would matter if they could play this Thursday, Friday, Saturday, pick a time. Stockbridge is one of the premier teams, not just in 4A, but in the state, all classifications. I would love to see North Hall pull the upset, but Stockbridge is just that good. I just don't see North Hall having enough in the end to do it. I'm taking Stockbridge.
Yeah, it's very obvious that North Hall really hurt themselves by losing to East Forsyth last week, because that was the difference in going to Luella or Stockbridge.
Yep.
And so Stockbridge, you said it, North Hall can put points up, but the Stockbridge team's pretty good, so I'm going to go with Stockbridge.
Yeah, I've watched a little bit of tape on them, and they got some size. They got some speed. They've played played Colquitt County, played Douglas County. You put those two in, and they were competitive in both those games, at least for a little while with Colquitt. I got to go with Stockbridge.
Colquitt or Colquitt?
Let's call Gene Anderson. He will set the record straight, by the way.
If you're in South Georgia.
It's coleslaw.
Or it's mulch.
Or is it coleslaw?
I don't know.
It really would be a good debate, because Gene would debate that
He would.
for an hour.
Yes, he would.
All right.
I know how to pronounce who's going to win this game.
Okay, pronounce it.
Stockbridge.
Okay.
That's what I got.
Okay, there you go.
Very nice.
Yeah,
Yeah,
bring it back around.
I'm going with Stockbridge on this one, too. I think the win's kind of out of North Hall right now after that loss to East Forsyth last week.
I do think North Hall will score in this game a little bit.
I do
though.
too. I do too.
I just don't know if it's going to be enough.
All right, guys.
That it?
That's the rundown.
That's it?
That's the rundown.
Wow.
There you have
that went
it.
Quick.
Coach, we appreciate it.
Hey, it was fun.
Yeah, don't take 13 weeks next time to get on the show.
Hey, things are a little different now in my life. I got some other priorities.
He wanted to be on for the first week of the playoffs. I can't blame him for that.
Yeah, I can't
it's
blame him
playoff
either.
football.
Yeah, it's just I'm just glad he was
But if
available.
Chastity had
for
made the
first week of
playoffs, would you have not
Listen,
been
Bo
on?
tried to get me on last week, but I had a doctor appointment.
Yeah.
It was
There we
either be in the doctor's office and do the show, or Say no.
Hey, we
I
haven't
thought
had.
that would have been a great
fun.
show.
Yeah, we haven't
That would have been
anybody.
fantastic. I could have like screened you out of the doctor's
Hey,
office.
before we
and put you somewhere.
leave, can we get you to say "Go Big Red" one more time?
No.
No, hard pass. That is a hard pass.
Yeah, you are a bully, Seth. You're right. He is a bully.
All
He's
right,
trying to
Coach.
bully coaches
Coach,
now.
I'm still not used to seeing you in maroon.
Yeah.
I'm still
Yeah.
not used to it.
Hey.
It's weird.
You
There
see
it is. Yeah, we see
Yeah,
it.
we see it.
I'm sure I'll get used to it. It's just going to take a little while.
Hey,
All
tell
right.
tell Sutton that you did a great job.
Well, I'll have to wait until after I get my picks in and we know what's happening before I say that.
Hey, we'll see you at Linear Land, Coach.
See you guys.
See you,
Thank y'all.
man. All right, let's get to the locks portion of the show this week. Let's see who won their locks last week. Jeff, myself, Walker. Who lost their locks? Caleb and Seth.
Yeah.
So, the order of picking the locks, myself, Jeff, Walker, Caleb, and Seth. This one's easy for me. I'm picking East Forsyth.
What is
East
the line on
Forsyth is a
that?
1-point underdog, by the way.
Yes.
Yeah, Bo, you know the audience can't see the number, so it might be good when you
Yeah.
say your line to say what the line is.
It's fine.
Actually, they
East
can. I
Forsyth
put it on the graphic.
It's a 1-point underdog, and I'm picking East Forsyth.
All right, there we go.
Thank you. The floor is now yours, Jeff.
Next.
Yes, I know. And some high lines in all the games except for a couple of them.
Oh, yeah?
Talk
reach
to the microphone, Jeff. if you don't
I
mind.
am talking into the microphone.
No, you weren't.
I'm not.
No,
talking
you weren't.
into-
You
I
were
was not
you were
talking-
over to
okay.
the side of the microphone.
Sorry about that.
It's okay.
Trying to decide which one of these behemoth lines I want to.
Well,
pick.
let's pick one and go.
It's very tough. I'm going to tell you that. Shush. Be quiet.
He's just doing the music.
I know.
I'm going to take a nap for a minute, you guys.
I'm gonna take Stockbridge
No,
minus
there
27.
it is.
Minus 27 over North Hall. I would love to see North Hall pull the upset.
All right.
But we talked about it just a minute ago. Seth said
Mm-hmm.
it. They're probably reeling just a bit from last week's
Reeling.
really tough loss. And Stockbridge is one of the top 10 teams in the state all classes. That's kind of a low line with some of these big lines. So
Jefferson minus 29. Sammy Brown's going to account for that spread himself.
That a boy. Yeah.
Is it my turn now?
Yeah.
Union County's a 19-point favorite against Elka.
yes,
That's correct.
I mean, Union County could win that game, but 19? I'll take Elka plus 19. I like that.
I like it a lot.
so
Boy,
two-
Michael Perry's going to put me on blast
Yes,
if they
he will.
win this game Friday.
Saturday.
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 Yeah,
That's right,
that's a Saturday, 1 p.m. kickoff.
Well, good thing we don't have a scoreboard show.
Seth, it's your turn.
Seth.
We're now. on
I'm
the music.
looking.
The
I'm
music's
looking.
done, so that means the locks are done.
That's not true.
Oh.
That's they're done when I say they're done.
Ooh.
By the way, while you're looking, Lumpkin County 34-point favorite. White County's a pick 'em.
I've got him
Gainesville,
here. I
33-point favorite.
I can read Walker.
I'm telling the audience.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Let the audience know.
Okay.
Well, we need
Yeah.
some content while you guys
How
are
about
just
Douglas
sitting there
minus-
silent for 3 minutes.
Douglas minus 46
I'm going to check
against
my
half.
email while you're.
Flowery
let's
Branch,
see.
22-point
gonna,
dog.
wait for you
I know.
guys to stop
let's see.
talking.
Yeah, I took that
Email.
one. I took Creekside. No, I didn't. I took Stockbridge. That's
Let's see.
Give me Buford minus 25.
And there it is.
Okay.
And there it is.
right. Okay.
And by the way, the locks.
Nope,
standings,
that's it. That's the end of the show. I
All
made
right.
my pick. We're done.
The lock standings are Jeff Bo, Walker. No, check that. Jeff Bo, Caleb Walker, and Seth. So there you go.
Seth is in last
order.
in everything we're
All
doing.
right, guys. That's a wrap. That is a wrap. Like, we got to leave.
Playoff football.
Hey, we got 3 games on air as usual this week. Wheeler at Buford 550, Jackson of Atlanta at Jefferson on 102.9, and South Paulding at Gainesville on 94.5 FM The Lake. And we've got a full tailgate show.
And we've got a full Thursday night
we
quarterback.
do have a full
Loco's
Thursday
Grill
night
and Pub,
quarterback. We're still trying to confirm, but yeah, we do. We do. What's on the tailgate show?
We'll have previews of all these playoff games. We'll take a look at the brackets and, have a good time. The sun is now down before the tailgate show starts.
I hate the time change.
I don't mind it.
I hate it.
Playoff football's for the dark.
Oh,
it's
it
supposed
is.
to be dark.
Oh, it
when the
is. It
playoffs
is.
are played.
It is.
That's why I don't like the
I
Walker.
got a suggestion for
What-
Thursday night quarterback.
Who you got? What you got?
Class is going to have another meeting tomorrow or on Thursday.
Yeah, we could. We'll probably definitely have some conversation about that.
It's going to be the biggest story until kickoff on Friday.
Huge. That is correct. All right, guys, let's get out of here. Don't forget, go to the website, Friday Game Night page at accesswdun.com and check out all the features, stories on Friday night, highlights, and much, much more. And follow us on X, formerly known as Twitter, at Friday Game Nights. For the entire crew, enjoy week number 1 of the high school football playoffs. Bye-bye.
You go to all these softball games. How many friggin' softballs have hit you in the head, Bo? I want to know.
Now they have nets over our heads.
I want to
now,
be
so-
the Adam Schefter of Access WD win for reclass.
Okay.
We did it. All right.
Didn't expect the Zoom out app to,
Yeah, we
go
went right
screwy
to
today.
Coach, and it all went.
It went,
Went
Let's
kablooey.
try
That's
again,
because
shall
we
we?
tried so many times all year.
Yeah.
yes, that's right.
Look, Coach, I shaved my head for you.
He did.
Well,
That's not what
Thanks.
happened.
Is that
That's precious.
Roll the music.